In today's highly competitive business world, managing resources and streamlining business processes is key to minimize errors, improve communication and efficiency. Process automation can help. Automating repeatable business processes through workflows ensures accountability, less micromanagement, and results in better customer service. With process automation, employees can collaborate in a more productive and agile way. That is why we're introducing Anywork Workflow Management System. With Anywork, you can automate your processes, customize your workflows, boost productivity, get key insights. With Anywork, no coding is necessary. The workflows can help streamline and automate repeatable business processes. The workflows are created using a drag-and-drop-based, user-friendly interface. This interface provides variety of design elements to offer flexibility and freedom in implementing workflows that are customized to meet your exact business process needs. Anywork provides process management and process automation customized to your needs. Processes can be scheduled to be executed automatically either on a given time or when certain specific events happen. Automated reminders, notifications, and progress updates can be created in design. Finally, the reporting is done through an interactive and customizable dashboard. Anywork has a lot of features and offers many functionalities, but in this video, we are going to focus on one business case and present to you how USA Cabinet Store, which is a kitchen cabinet and home remodeling company, was able to use Anywork to automate their business in a very customized fashion to meet their exact business needs. Before we can show you how USA Cabinet uses Anywork, let's go over their business processes. With any business that wants to automate their business processes, naturally, the first step is coming up with a complete workflow of all the business processes as shown here. Anywork can interact and communicate with any API. For example, in this case, Anywork communicates with the Zillow API and automatically brings up the house price, last sold date, year built, and all other features Zillow provides about the house of the customer. So all these business processes are followed, and after customer approval of the design, the contracts and invoices are created automatically by Anywork, customized for this customer, including the cabinet chosen, their prices, tax, discounts, and payment plans. So you do not need to use any other software to create invoices and contracts. Then, depending on the business case, at any time, you can delegate the next steps to another department or employee. For example, here, a designer has been working with the customer in getting their requirements, scheduling measurements, creating the design, and getting the approval of the customer. But in the next step, the task is assigned to a person from the accounting department to charge the customer 50% of the contract amount. Unless the accountant charges the customer 50% or anything you specified in advance, the designer cannot continue to other steps, like ordering supplies, installation, etc. This creates checkpoints and ensures that certain steps and protocols are followed in the business. Along the way, there will be other delegations, like charging customers 30% once the supplies are delivered, waiting for the approval of other departments to move forward, etc. So, we will be showing you all these great features in action next. This is the basic interface for Anywork. You can choose a theme that you like, either light color or dark color. Here I'm logging in to Anywork as one of the designers that works for this company, USA Cabinet. His name is Tom. I then go to My Works, and here are displayed the tasks that are waiting for me, the designer. There are 20 cabinet and remodeling tasks that are pending. They are in process, but haven't been completed yet. Tom also has 2 customer information sheets where he collects customers' information when they first come into the store. He also has one under Order Supplies. So, if you click on this, you will see all of these pending tasks listed as certain steps. These are the same steps we showed previously in the flowchart. Anywork implements that. But let's start over. Let's start at the beginning. The first process, or workflow, is to create a customer profile. When a customer arrives, we gather the information and enter it into the system. Brian Allen. These are the settings for this particular project. So this is a cabinet-only project for this person who is a contractor or is a customer that has a contractor. They just want to buy a cabinet. And the second option is cabinet with installation, with some structural changes. Another one is installation of the cabinet but without structural changes, or it could be just ordering other materials. So we're going to go with structural changes. The project type is kitchen, but you could add bathroom and others. So let's just keep it kitchen for our purposes now. If it's something else, you could choose others, and then you'll be able to enter it here. So I'll keep it kitchen, and here let's say timeline is 4 to 6 weeks. And then for budget, I'll just put $14,000 to $21,000. So if I feel that the customer wants to think about the budget or we're not sure about this project type, we don't have to submit it. We can lock and save it without having to submit it. If I click Lock and Save, it does two things. One, this customer is assigned to me now. If you remember, Tom had only 2 here. Now he has 3. Why? Because we locked it and we saved it. So it will save it the way we entered it, and we can change anything else we want to. And then we can submit it. So once I submit it, that step, that process is done. That's why it goes from 3 to 2. Think of it as tasks that are waiting on your desk. You're done with this, and then it is sent to somebody else. Now, as a designer, I know that this customer is in the system. I can go and start the cabinet or remodeling process for them. Here are the current customers whose information was entered, but they haven't been helped in terms of planning and designing their cabinet and other cabinet solutions or the remodel. It will be populated here, so we can choose the customer we will start working with for remodeling and design. All the information we entered is populated here. So here it asks if this address we entered is the same address with the job site. We just say yes. If we say no, it will expect us to enter the site address. Remember the Zillow API we mentioned? Here is where I click to bring Zillow details into the Anywork software. This will communicate with the Zillow API and automatically will populate the fields. These are the important ones: the house price, when this house was built, and last sold. Then it will create a link for every other detail. This is important because we want to know how much their house is worth and also have an idea, depending on the last sold date, whether or not they are remodeling with plans to sell it or just remodeling for themselves. So I click Bring in Zillow Details, and within seconds, it brings in all this information that I need. And if I wanted to look at these additional details, I could click here, and it brings me to the Zillow page for that house. Here I can find new information, such as square footage, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, and so on and so forth. We kept these 3 details here. We could add others as well if you think they should be readily available. So we filled out this part with what the customer requested. And the last thing is, we need to schedule a measurement date and time so our designers can go to the house or the job site and get the measurements they need before the installation. So here, we'll schedule it for Saturday at 2 p.m. So it's now scheduled, and here they can choose what kind of countertop, brand, and name, and the edge types. And if we need to add any documents, they can be added here, or if we want to add any notes, we can add them here. So I'll just make a note stating just to make sure to call before going for the measurement. So it shows Tom entered this comment. So we close it, and it will always be saved within Anywork as part of the process of this customer. Then we hit Submit. Again, as Tom, the employee, these are my pending tasks, my day-to-day tasks. When I click on Cabinet and Remodeling at the top, the latest one is the most recent one, this customer, Alan, and their house information. So I click on that. And you will see that it doesn't take me to Initial Consultation now, but rather it takes me to the Measurement and Design tab because that is the next step in the workflow. And notice here, there is nothing here, but as soon as I choose Measurement is done, it's going to release a list for me to add to structural changes and their prices. So the tool is very dynamic in that sense. So now that we've said done, we have to let the customer choose the sort of cabinets and the list price. Let's say it's $50,000 and the designers or customer representatives are allowed to offer discounts for this store. But the store manager said if the discount is more than 30%, it should come to him as an approval item. So this is all very customizable. Let's say as the CFO, you can say, if price is more than $100,000, it should come to me as an approval item. Or if it is less than a certain amount, or anything that you want to make sure that you have an approval first, we can set up the way you want, okay? Anywork is very flexible and dynamic in that sense. And then here, because this project type was an installation with structural changes, there will be some structural changes, and these are decided during the measurement. So the designer, when they measure the house and they decided with the customer, for example, the customer might want to make changes in the kitchen, moving where the oven is, maybe do some floor work or things like that, the designer would use their notes to fill this part out. So I've filled out the items, what type of labor it is, and how much it costs. And then some of them, there's no backsplash work or no light work, so it's $0 for those fields. Add all the prices, and then we'll have to set the payment plan. So I'm going to Invoice and Payment. You will see that these red areas mean that they are required fields, okay? So this is customizable. I'm going to add percentages as 50, 30, 15%. And if I enter something wrong here that goes above 100%, the system will actually warn me. So there, it should be set to 5%. So here we've entered all the information. When we click Submit, we will get a warning which says you have to upload the design file. This is one of the beauties of the Anywork software. As the owner or the business executive, you can make sure that certain things have to happen before your designer, your salesperson, your accountant, or whoever can move forward. So because the designs are important and we need to keep record of them, the way we designed this one was that the designer has to upload the design file, otherwise they cannot move forward. So they will have to click and add the document and then close it. So this file is now part of the process. Since the designer uploaded the design file and completed working with the customer, now the next step, as you can recall from the flowchart, is the customer approval. Here, let's just say the customer approved it with no modifications. The system is asking us for a response. So you'll notice that as soon as we say the customer approved it, we were here, but it took us to Invoice and Payments. That is because our workflow in this business process says the next step is Invoice and Contract Download. It took us to the right tab, which is the Invoice, Contract, and Payment, and here we choose the date. The next step is invoice and contract download as expected. The designer or the employee, whoever has access, will come, and then you'll see that the documents associated with this process are listed here. Now we have 2 extra documents. We already had the design file that we uploaded, but we have the invoice and we have the contract. So if we click the invoice that was created, it is here for us to read, and it is customized for this customer, Brian Allen. The same thing goes for the contract. When we click on the contract, the newly created contract will be opened, and it has all the information about the customer. And also, if you remember, the first, second, third, and fourth payment percentages that we entered during the design process with the agreement of the customers, they are listed here with the associated payment amounts. These contracts are Word files, and the invoices are Excel files. You can download them if you want to make last-minute changes on them and get the signature of the customers. Then you can upload them using the New Document option here, and then Submit here. So we have not only created customized invoices and contracts, but also for every customer, we will have signed contracts in our records associated with the business process. Tom, the designer, had 21 tasks. Now he has only 20, because if you go back to the workflow, the next step is for the accountant to charge the customer 50% of the contract amount. At this point, Tom, or whoever the designer is, cannot go to further steps, like ordering supplies or scheduling installation, unless this 50% payment step is completed by the accountant, which is what we want. So this will go to the desk of the accountant with an alert, and he or she will see it. But because we are doing a demo here, I will just log in as one of the accountants, Miss Bree. And she will have this as one of her tasks in her cabinet and remodeling workflow category. As you can see, here is the customer, Alan, for whom the designer was Tom, and Tom created this process, and now Bree, the accountant, her task is to process the first payment of 50%. And the system will take her to the appropriate tab, which is the invoice or payment. And here, for the first payment, she'll enter the payment type. And if it's a credit card, the system will remind her that she has to charge an additional amount for the processing fee. But let's go with personal check, and let's say this is happening today. And the amount will depend on the customer or the client request. You can have it the way that it's populated here if you don't want to make changes, but for now, we are going to enter it manually. But as I said, we can make sure this is populated from the first payment as written in the payment plan. Remember, the first payment was entered as 50% during the payment plan, which corresponded to the $23,670, and we set it as payment received. So we're going to submit. Bree, the accountant, she took care of this payment, and from the workflow, now we know that the next step is order supplies. You'll see that from 3 tasks, now Bree has only 2 tasks, because she took care of the task of charging this customer 50%. Now we'll go back to the designer, Tom's, screen. I'll have to log out and log in, but normally everyone is already logged in. As soon as a task is assigned to them, they will get alerted. As you can see, it goes back from 20 to 21 tasks. You see 21 tasks, right? So for our customer, Mr. Allen, now it's time to order supplies. And it should take us to order supplies. And then we will submit it. For the designer, the next step was order supplies, and later the supplies will arrive, okay? The next step is that when they arrive, we need to change it from order placed to order received, and then submit that. And notice that it goes back to 20. Why? Because when the order is received, before it can be delivered to the customer, we want 30% payment to be processed as the second payment. So all of these are by design. USA Cabinet, as part of their business processes, wanted the Anywork software to make sure the customer is charged the second payment after supplies are received and before they are delivered to the customer's house. So again, the task will go to the accountant. The accountant again will receive this automatically, and it will say this second payment is assigned to you by Tom, as shown. And then this also includes the customer name, so she'll know. When Bree clicks to My Works, she'll see that she has a new task, which is the second payment of this customer, Mr. Allen, along with the designer's name. Same thing, that the event was telling her that she was assigned to this. So as the accountant, Bree will come and do the same thing. And Anywork will take her to the right place. Basically, this is the way the Anywork software is automating the business processes of USA Cabinet. It provides transparency, accountability, less micromanagement, fewer human errors. This is, in a nutshell, how all of these workflow steps will be processed. So it started with the consultation step, and it was completed by our designer, Tom, at this time, and then measurement and design, customer approval, invoices, and right now the process sits here in the installation phase. You see who has access to this here. So this concludes our demo illustrating how USA Cabinet uses Anywork's workflow management system to automate their business processes and streamline their customer interaction, customer relations, and invoice contract creation, and also making sure that certain processes are followed before employees can move forward with customers. All the workflows shown here were created using a drag and drop based user-friendly interface in Anywork. Thank you.